he played his flute, got the rats out, and then the people didn't want to pay him. So he said, oh, okay, cool. And then he used the flute now to take their kids, lock their kids up away on a hill, and it's like, you didn't pay me.
I did not know that part of the story,
it's
mate.
like you didn't pay me.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of Triumph and Strides. It's your boy Wells and your boy
AK.
Nice to see you guys again. Nice to thank you for coming back on this wonderful Friday. To those that have watched before, thank you. To those that are joining us, enjoy the show.
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
And tell us what we're chatting about today.
Yeah, so today's episode is how to become your future self, and it's based on this book that I'm reading called Be Your Future Self Now by Dr. Benjamin Hardy. And it's essentially the science of intentional transformation. And yeah, what we're going to do is, I think, use 3 truths and 3 threats. Yeah, to your future self, and essentially just highlight how to get closer to your future self, how to do that. So I think let's start with 3 threads and then move on to truths. So the first thread is something we've spoken about before, and that's being unaware of your environment leads to random evolution. And what this speaks about essentially is if you are just existing in an environment that is not intentional to the type of person you want to be, or you haven't set up that environment so that it leads to you being that person you want to be. I think we said before, we tend to believe that you can be stagnant, you can just stay in one place without changing and you're staying the same. But really, since time is forever moving forward, you still are, but now you're moving towards that direction of the person you currently are now, or the way your environment is leading you to be now. So if I'm in an environment that's not allowing me to become the person I want to be, if I'm not in an environment that allows me to work on myself or to be myself, then I'm only growing more comfortable in that person that I currently am, in those bad habits that I currently don't want to do. I'm only staying in that place and evolving to be that person, So I think that is, it was a third episode. So I think a very big threat to your future self that you have to be aware of, your environment.
I think like what you also have to be aware of is you can't, your environments aren't always going to stay the same, right? So like you need to always be, have your head on a swivel. Like you need to always be vetting your situation. Like, who are the people around me? What are the things that I'm involved in? How are they conducive to the things that I'm aiming to do? How are they holding me back, etc.? So you kind of need to always be vetting your systems, your environments, and seeing like, do I need to change anything right now? How often that's obviously personal to the it's a personal thing, but I think you always need to be analyzing and making sure that you understand.
Like I think a nice way to say that is your environment needs to evolve with you as well, because the same way we highlighted with finding a mentor, as you evolve, that same person no longer is as useful as they were before. So even your environment, me being here now in an environment that fine, gymming 3 times a day, working this much, that's how it works out. But as I evolve, that may need to change, where now I'm able to maybe gym more or gym less or whatever the case is, but my environment has to evolve with me.
So then, okay, it's easier to include things, right, than it is to take things away. Sure. So how do you deal with that? Like, let's say even just people. How do you go about changing your environments, like when you need to? Do you find difficulty in that, or how do you go about it?
I think it's just to preface, it is something that's very difficult. I think when we speak about the things we do, speaking about it is a lot easier than doing it. So it is something I'm actually even actively struggling with. But I think with that, I like to think of replacing. When you get rid of something, now as you continue going about your day, you're in your mind, you've let go of something. There's something that you need to stop doing. I have to, but if you are able to replace it with something, then it fills up that thinking space, or that space that would have been used to make that thing so difficult. So I think it's important to replace. But now, to your question with people, it's a bit it's a bit more difficult, because look, you do have to, especially if it's people you care about, always consider not just the role they play in this environment now, because maybe your environment's changing for you, or your internal environment is changing, right? Now you want that to reflect the external, but that person before, they were good in that environment before, so you can't expect them now to, just change. So I think it is tough, but you just have to do it. Like, I don't know what else to say. You just have to have that conversation with the person and be like, hey, I'm no longer in the same circumstances, environment that I was in before, where us having this relationship the way we do is no longer beneficial to me. Now it's pulling me backwards because I need all this time to do XYZ. Or
Have you ever done that before?
I've tried.
Okay. Yeah, we don't need to get into it. It's okay.
I think I'm just too nice, bro.
Okay,
like,
I see.
But I need to
see.
stop, though.
Yeah.
I need to stop. I need to be, and that's the thing as well, though. You need to be able to put your foot down, because then your environment is controlling you. You're still evolving based on your environment and not. Yeah. So it has to be done. It's just difficult.
I get you.
Yeah.
I think it is very hard, like, going against the script of like, no, but this person has been in my life for so long, or has been, in this environment for such a long period of time. It would feel weird to cut them out of it and to move forward without them, right? Like, especially if it's somebody close to you, like, to be like, I'm moving on to the next stage of my life and you're not going to be there. That's a very deep thing to do. For me, I guess I don't necessarily go about cutting people off. Like, I'll never make that effort, but I do go about actively distancing myself from somebody. So if I don't speak to you as often, okay, this isn't really the best example, but part of it will be like not speaking to people as often or not seeing them as often, but not in the light of me chasing my dreams, but sometimes I'll have to make that distinction, like, yo, this person I need to distance myself off from. But I'll never be like, cut off, it's done, because it's hard. Like, I don't know how to do that. I don't think I could sit down with somebody and be like, listen, man, I'm on to the next phase of my life, bro, you need to dip. I don't know. That's a hard thing to do, man. So maybe
we're still getting there.
We're
still working on that.
We're still young as well, so maybe when we're like 30 it'll be easy, like, nah, dude, get out. Like, I'm finished with you. Okay, sick.
Okay,
sick.
Next thread to your future self.
Okay, so for me, I remember you saying it must be like a personal one. So I said, very similar to the environment is mediocre people that don't understand your world-class goals, right? And this is, again, now speaking specifically to the people that are in the same boat as us, right? People who are chasing the top of the top in their careers, the top of the top in their business, whatever, etc. Again, in light of the conversation about environments, you can't have people around you who are doing average things, or who encourage you to be an average person if you want to be a world-class exceptional person, right? Because I think Alex Hormozy said this, like, to be an exceptional person means that you're the exception of a group of many, meaning that you're doing things different from what everybody else is, right? Meaning that you can't have those people in your life and in your environment to push you forward. That's one of the biggest threats, bro.
Nah, I 100% agree with that, because you've spoken about, because look, obviously the people around you as well also form part of that environment, right? And we know that you are really, if the 5 people around you are millionaires, billionaires, even if I'm not there yet, the things that I'm trying to achieve, and I think most importantly, the level that I let myself fall back down to, is still so much higher than what the mediocre people's standard is, So if I'm with 5 people that are, like I said, world-class thinkers or world-class people or have world-class goals, then even in my failing, when I'm, so we call it learning, but even in my failing, if I'm aiming for level 10 and I fall down to level 7, that's still better than being with people who are aiming for level 5, because when I fall back down, I'm falling down to a level 4, So am I even actually progressing? Because when they say, nah, it's okay to take a day off, that's a day off after doing 2 hours of work, as opposed to being in an environment where if I relax, it's only after I've done 6, So I think 100%, bro.
No, sorry.
But no, I was gonna say 100% is very important to have those killers, those winners around you, because the Iman refers to it as your what is it, your hygiene standard. So the things that you allow yourself every day to not be able to do. So, for example, brushing your teeth. You know that you're gonna brush your teeth.
Just brush your teeth.
I hope, you're brushing your teeth.
Definitely brush your teeth. You brush your teeth, man. What?
So the same way you feel about not going a day without brushing your teeth or showering, those things should apply in the people you're around. So do they allow you to go a day without doing shit? Do they allow you to go a day without, or do they go a day without doing XYZ, because if that's who you're around, you're going to resort to that hygiene standard, that baseline of comfortability. Yeah.
100%, bro. I think also, just to preface, like, mediocre firstly isn't always a bad thing, but it's not to say that there's a set type of mediocre people. It's mediocre to relevant to your life, right? So like for a billionaire, being mediocre would maybe be being around 100 millionaires or like a million. So it's relevant to yourself. I'm not saying like there's mediocre people and there's not mediocre. It's relevant to yourself in your own situation. Just wanted to preface that. Yeah. You want to go into the second thread?
Nah, that's yours, buddy.
Oh yes. My bad. Okay, and then we've spoken about this extensively before, but still very important, is complacency, fear, and laziness. Nothing ventured is nothing ever gained, right? And it speaks to that thing of you can never you can always take something away from going on a journey of doing something, whether it's from failing or whether it's from getting benefits from it, right? And you'll never ever know if you can reach that potential or max out the potential if you don't go for it, if you don't try your best, if you don't if you remain complacent, you tell yourself like, I'm not gonna do this, right? But you never know that if you do that thing, that could be the thing that sends you to the top. Again, relevant to whatever it is that you want to do, business, your schoolwork, your buying that course, going to that tutor, for example. Those are the things, if you remain complacent and you're lazy and you're scared of, those are the things that will result in you not gaining anything because you never ventured in the first place. Yeah, I feel like that's a
like
big threat.
I think the book also touched on that a little bit, and how it said it is failing to be your future self is still better than succeeding at being your current self. So the same thing, like, you can succeed at being where you are now, not trying the new thing, being where you are now, being okay with, no, I'm going to try that now I'm going to see, or being comfortable in the person that you are now. And if you're watching this actually, or trying to just be better, grow, then you are not comfortable. You shouldn't be comfortable with where you are now. So like you said, it's still so much better to try and do the thing and fail, learn the mistakes from doing that thing, because you're still better off than when you were trying to do it. And I think also something that's been said is, we like to use the word try without actually trying. I'm trying to do this. Don't try, do it. We get stuck in, I'm trying to do this, but you're not actually trying unless you're doing it. So 100% agree with that. That'll all the time, I think, keep you back from being your future self, being comfortable, being complacent. We always say that you're always going to be stuck here unless you just take that first step, try and do something out of your comfort zone, get yourself to do that new thing in order to elevate.
I agree. I also just wanna highlight something though, is that for all of this stuff to be made easier to you, kind of need to have some desire to chase it, right? Like to be able to say like, I'm gonna cut up my environment, to be able to say like, I'm gonna do all of this stuff. The thing that it really comes down to is desire, right? And I think I've said this maybe like 6 times before, but if you sorry guys sorry, my bad. If you don't stick with something, right, then it means that your desire to carry on doing that thing was way higher, or way more than your desire to actually chase the other thing, right? But that won't ever be the case if you are doing something that you really truly want to do. And that's the thing that makes chasing and everything that we're talking about way easier. It mitigates the threats. It makes the truths even more true to yourself. I just wanted to say that. So
I like that. So in conclusion, really, there are a lot of threats to you trying to build your future self. It's kind of difficult to actually like summarize it into one, but I think be intentional. We speak about intentionality a lot. You need to be intentional and know what it is you want and why you want it. And then from there, like we said, you have to be aware of the environment that you're in. You have to be aware of the people that you're around, the people that you surround yourself with, and just like you said, try, do everything you can to mitigate those threats to your future self. Yeah,
for sure. I think we can move on to the truths then.
Yeah. Okay, this part's exciting, optimistic. So now 3 truths about your future self. So I really like this one. This is also out of the book. So it says your future self is the Pied Piper. And what that means, so if you don't know what the Pied Piper essentially is, forgot the town, but there was a town which was plagued with rats, I think, and they didn't know what to do with them, and they wanted a way to get these rats out. So they called the Pied Piper, and the agreement was, we'll pay you if you can get these rats out. He played his flute, got the rats out, and then the people didn't want to pay him. So he said, oh, okay, cool. And then he used the flute now to take their kids, lock their kids up away on a hill, and it's like, you didn't pay me. I did
not know that part of the story,
it's like, you didn't pay me. And the whole parable of it is that the Pied Piper is your future self, so he is going to be paid. Like, he is going to be paid. The only question is when you're going to pay and how much you're going to pay. So the people could have paid then when they said, we're going to pay you to do this. So when I said that I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to do whatever it is to myself, I could have done it then. But cool, I chose not to do it today. The price is going to accumulate, and it is going to have to be paid. So they could have paid in dollars, now they paid with their kids. So the same way with yourself, I could pay now by sacrificing 10 minutes of my day, 30 minutes of my day, or one day I have to sacrifice millions because I'm unhealthy, and now I need to be on a medical aid plan that does XYZ because my health is, when I could have been doing the 30 minutes now. So your future self is the Pied Piper. The price is always going to be paid. You just have to ask yourself when and how much are you willing to pay. And we apply that now in our everyday life. So like I said with gym, with everything that I want to do in order to get to my future self, unfortunately there's a price to be paid. And like you can choose to, like you said, it's how much do you want it. I can choose to do it all now and not have to deal with the accumulated cost of not being the person that I am, because the cost of regret is so much more than the cost of the sacrifice that's needed now. So I don't think there's much explanation really into that, but
I think we can kind of link it like back to even the conversation we had last week about growing pains, right? Of the thing is, it sucks right now in the moment to be paying the price or to be accumulating the amount that you will pay to your future self, right? So like you said, going to the gym, being sore the next day, etc. But that's, I guess, like the benefits of growing pains, and like links in that your growing pains are gonna be the positive payment that you make to your future self. Like that's how the Pied Piper is gonna come and get his dead. Or you can be in a situation where, again, similar situation where the growing pain is the opposite or the inverse, where you didn't go to the gym, and like you say now, your heart is failing out on you, or your cardiovascular system is shot, or your nervous system is shot, whatever. But again, your future self will pay for that. So just wanted to link it through to growing pains. True.
So with that, remember, sacrifice cost dollars, regret cost billions. So
Boss.
Holy.
Do
you want to give me the truth, or should I?
You go.
Okay, so now the second truth, and this one of my favorite because I think I've applied it to my personal life, it's the more vivid and detailed your future self, the faster you'll progress. And I just love this because I've seen it in myself. A day where I just say I want to have a good day versus a day where I say that I want to go to the gym at 6, I want to eat at this, where I'm able to intricately plan, I have a much more productive day because I know what steps to follow. And it's the same with my future self, the bigger picture, not just day by day. If I say I want to be successful, that doesn't mean anything, as opposed to, okay, to be successful means XYZ. So I want to be a person that eats well, I want to be a person that is loving, I want to be a person that's XYZ. Then it's so much easier for me to see that person that I want to become, because I have these traits and everything laid out in front of me. I can visualize who that person is, and it's so much easier for me, to become that person because I have, like I said, the blueprint out in front of me. But then second, like we said, if you wanna see growth, you have to monitor, track growth. So now that if I'm vividly planning out who my future self is, I'm also able to track that, I am growing, and therefore I will be able to get to that person quicker.
I completely agree. I feel like, though, you just need to be careful in terms of that, of like thinking to yourself like, yo, this is the person I'm gonna be. I think this is kind of a trap I was caught in like not too long ago, because I had this one really good win right? And that was me being able to envision and say, yo, my future self is going to be amazing. But along the way, like, I kind of got lost in that whole thing of like, yo, I'm going to be amazing because I had this one win, but I never did anything else, you know, to add on to that and move towards that direction. So the point of what I'm trying to say is you need to pair that with really hard work, bro. You can't just envision it and think and sit back and be like, oh no, when I'm 30, oh my god, everything's going to be great, and sit back and relax, because that's not how it happens, right? It goes with structure, like you said. It goes with planning, detail. For it to be detailed, you need to detail it yourself and say like, okay, this is how I'm going to do it, these are the steps. Make a 1-year plan, make a roadmap, figure it out. But it goes with action and structure for you to be able to achieve that, you know?
No, 100%. Because I think, look, I think the main focus here is just you need to know who that person is. Because, say, for example, the opposite. I'm someone who says, look, I am going to be successful. I'm going to do hard work. I do hard work, but at what? For what? For who? What direction? What work am I doing? You know, so I think...
And there's a really hard work as well.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so it's really just making sure that you really know and see who this person is and what you're actually working towards and what work is, you know, like what is work to that person that you're trying to become. Yeah.
And I think, again, going back to that whole thing, you track it as well, of like the work that you're doing. Because I heard this somewhere, this is not an original thought, but people will say like, yo, dude, I was working. But like, you sat down for 3 hours and you did all of this work, but how did it contribute to you moving forward, right? Like, what is your track? What are your KPIs? You've spoken about that before. What are your KPIs that say like the work that you've done before actually came to fruition into something else, right? Like that's the most important thing, I feel like. So
I love that.
My truth?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, I have to but I'll just drop one. So nigga whoops, I'm black. I'm cool. You need to figure out how you're gonna fall in love with the game and love the hustle, or else it will be the most miserable journey of your life.
Type shit.
You know, I think for myself is I say these things, or I've said here on the podcast that I want to achieve this 10-figure business, right? This 10-figure deal. And it's pretty much impossible to do that if you don't have, like we say, the work ethic, if you don't have an idea that will get you there, if you don't have the people around you, if you don't have the luck to do all of that stuff, right? But in all of that, in the midst of all of that, you need to find out like how are you going to fall in love with the processes of developing each and every pillar that leads to getting to that point, mate. Like if I say to you here and I sit here and I say I'm going to be a billionaire, but every single day when I wake up, I hate the way that I'm doing it. I hate the people that I'm working with. I don't even align with that goal completely. That shit is gonna suck. That shit is gonna suck terribly, mate. And you need to learn to figure out how to do that. You need to, like I say, find the right people. You need to find the right ideas. Don't rush it. Don't sit down and tell yourself like, now I want to be a billionaire by the time I'm 30, and then you're stuck doing this thing and doing this work that isn't contributing to the truest form of how you want to achieve it. Like, sit down, really plan it out. Like, understand that this journey is gonna be probably like a large portion of your life, right? And you need to figure out a way to make sure that it's fun. Like, you must enjoy it. Of course, there'll be hard times, there'll be struggles. Like, there'll be nights where you don't sleep, there'll be nights where you cry, there'll be nights where you'll feel alone. It's deep. But somewhere in that, you need to find the positive in it, you know?
No, that's true. Again, from my personal experience, you know, like you said, it's something that happens along the way. So you figure out what it is you fall in love with the journey, like as you're on it. But I think, like you said, you also have to make the conscious decision of, okay, I'm going to fall in love with the journey, and, you know, here's what I enjoy about it. Because like you said, it is going to be miserable, you know. So I know we use gym a lot, but again, example with gym, I don't like the feeling of when I'm actually hurting gymming, you know, but I do like the fact that I have to watch my health. I like when I'm consciously eating, you know. I enjoy being able to buy foods that are good for me and do this. And I don't know if this is with everyone, but there's a point in my training when it just gets, like, I get so tired or sore to the point where I have to change gears. Like, mentally, I need to get, you know, to the next gear. Otherwise, I'm not going to finish the workout. That's what I love, when I get to that point where now the sweat starts breaking and I enjoy that, you know. So there's small bits of all of it that you have to really be like, okay, I enjoy this. The late nights, I enjoy it because I know that it's quiet outside. I get to be alone with my mind, you know. I find the small things that make it worth it, because like you said, if I'm out here just breaking my body, my mind, and spirit every day, trying to become better. And I don't enjoy anything about it. I'll only enjoy it at the end. Then I'm not even gonna get to the end, because it is, yeah, it's not a nice journey. It's it's not a nice journey, So yeah, I think it really is, especially for you to, like you said, continue doing it over and over again. You need to find something in the journey that you fall in love with, and the process of getting to there, you need to fall in love with that, man. Yeah, I like that.
Last thing before we close off, again, like, don't let it be a thing where you follow blindly. Like, don't gaslight yourself into liking this because you see other people doing it. Don't gaslight yourself into thinking that this is the only thing, this is the only way that it can happen, because sometimes you're basing that off of somebody else's journey, off of somebody else's wins, in their circumstances that were completely different at a different time, different place, different people. Like, the factors that contribute to your story versus somebody else's story are very unique, and you can't model that after somebody else's, bro. So don't follow blindly. If you truly love it and you truly are able to sit down and say, I'm sacrificing all of these things and I really want this, then I think that's the first step to finding out if you love it or not. But yeah, just be careful.
No, I like that. Okay, so to conclude the truths about becoming your future self, I think one that we touched on is the hard work is going to be done. The hard work has to be done. Whether you do it now, you do it later, how much of it you do, it's up to you, but the work is going to be done. So if you really do want to save yourself the English left me, but having to deal with regretting not doing it earlier, having to deal with now you have to do it while juggling something else. You don't know where life is going to take you, where you're going to be. So if you're able to do it now and you want to do it now, because you're gonna have to do it at some point.
Yeah, like I think have you watched Top Boy?
Yeah,
at the end, Sully says something to, what's that guy's name, Duchesne.
Yeah,
and he says, if you're not a monster, you're food, and I can never be food. I can never ever be food. So you need to be a dog. You need to be a dog. You need to chase, and you need to be absolutely ruthless. If you're aiming and you're in the same boat as us, you don't have any leeway in that. I'll just leave it with that.
No, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Well, this has been How to Become Your Future Self. If you enjoyed this episode, let us know. We'll do another one. It's based on the whole book, so there's plenty more truth and threads to your future self we can talk about. Anyways, thank you very much for tuning in on this Friday. Like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you guys want to see more of, and we'll check you next week.
Peace, guys.